So, Bobby, a Portuguese dog, is now the oldest living dog at 30 years old. That is really impressive. If I had a dog of 30 years, I would be so close to that dog. Yeah. So, Evan, what are your thoughts on that? Oldest
Yeah, and
living
that's
dog.
yeah, that's definitely something I wanted to touch later on the story. But just the story first, we have this is an amazing story from the Smithsonian. You guys can read that below, but we're gonna kind of describe it too here. Because it's really an amazing story. So this is the oldest dog on record. That's pretty cool. Like in the world. This is the oldest dog in on record. It's in Portugal. We'll get to the life habits of why we also think this dog has lived this long later, but kind of the story which is interesting because this dog almost did not make it past infancy. The story is really interesting. They talked about the owner who was 8 years old at the time, obviously 30 years later now, but the owner was 8 years old at the time, and the dog's mom, of course, which was owned by that family, had puppies, but the puppies they didn't really want the puppies. So the dad, the real life dad, not the dog dad, the real life dad, it was tradition back then, and this is actually very sad. It was tradition to just put puppies in holes and just suffocate them. Is an easy way to kill them. Like when they're very little, and this is key before the eyesight, because they couldn't see, so they thought they're in their minds they thought they couldn't feel it, or know what was going on when they were dying. But this dog, Bobby in particular, was not with the pack when he took the other ones out. He was behind some logs. And the mom it's behind some logs in a farm barn. And the mom dog always came over and checked on the barn for like a week or so. And the real life kids were like, what is the mom dog doing? What is she doing? So they go behind the logs and they find the puppy. Uh, so eventually they decide to hide the puppy from the dad to make sure that the dad doesn't eventually kill it until the puppy can for sure see, because then they could take it out and be like, well, you can't kill it now because it can see. So that's really how Bobby's life started. And that's amazing. That like so Bobby is the world's longest living dog on record, and he almost died right from the beginning. So that's like if a homeless guy became the most wealthy person in the world. That's an amazing story. Uh, so usually these dogs they live about 12 to 14 years. They're guard dogs, and the owner has credited to freedom to roam, like roam about, in the woods and nearby area. Unseasoned human food, and of course, love and affection is the key to a lot of stuff. I think when in terms of a dog living this long, I think that yes, love does matter, but really, I think that most importantly, if you have the ability to do what you want and you get to roam around the most, I think that is really key in terms of living. Like just being happy, and by being happy, you're a pet. Your motive isn't that like yes, love and affection does matter, but your motive necessarily isn't to sit and watch TV with your significant other. Your motive is to play and have fun. So maybe I think this was just really a 1 in a million chance, and Bobby struck 1 in a million. What do you think contributes to this like a long lifespan for a pet, Jake? Like,
You know, I think if it's eating healthy, I think a lot of
yeah, I forgot to
exercise.
mention that too. Yeah, but
Yeah. A lot of exercise, just being a happy dog, because happiness does live a long life. Happiness does help you live a long life.
yeah.
So that's
But
what I think.
that's kind of what I was saying. Like with a pet and a human, it's a little different because people have always said loneliness is the biggest killer, and that's true. But loneliness for a pet is a little different than it is for a human. Like a dog, they just want someone to play with, and they just want, of course, they want to eat too, but they just want someone to play with, and
Right.
that's what. Again, I just think there's nothing particular Bobby did. He just struck 1 in a million, and he's a happy dog, and he continues to live. By the way, there's that picture of him. If you do check out the article, he's still 30-year-old dog that does not look 30 years old. He looks way younger. So it's no surprise there. But kind of what Jake was saying at the beginning, though, like if you had a pet for 30 years, think about that. Like, say you got a dog at 10 and he's still with you at 40. Like, how much does that mean to you? Like, to have a pet like that long? Well,
Obviously, it means a lot. You talk about family members, you know, if when you're if when you're 10 years old, let's say when you're 10 years old and family member's 90 years old or even 80 years old and he's still with you for 30 more years. I mean, you cherish those moments.
Yeah.
And I think with a dog, you do the same thing.
Yeah, that's actually a really good kind of analogy, like a great grandparent or something like that. So I kind of even have a little bit of personal experience. My cat Stanley, uh, he lived till 18, so not quite 30, but still
Great
pretty
name, by
up
the way.
there. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Flat Stanley. Right.
Yeah,
But the longer they live, kind of the more humanized they get, right? Like kind of and I don't mean to say like being an animal's lesser. I'm just saying you bond with them more. You get more memories.
right.
And it's kind of like it does humanize them a little bit. But